Hey everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of the DecompresSean Cast. Episode 8. Here we are, what a dramatic and eventful month, once again, as is kind of typical now in this weird sort of neo post-PCP sphere, really. I guess I'll just get right into some funny things, some things that are on my mind, some things that I've been stewing about. And then, of course, you guys will get your lecture updates, as usual. But first of all, fucking juicy-ass drama. What's happened tonight, lads? What is the craziness that has happened in this weird niche, almost of a niche community that I find myself in? It's that, if you don't know, Trixie, who is the artist formerly known as DigiBro, has boiled over and gotten to a point to where they've finally somewhat said they're leaving the PCP, or rather, more specifically, don't expect them to show up on it for a while, or something along those lines, in that they're just very, very unhappy with Ben Saint, which I find very, very comedic. And if you'd like to know my stance on this, it's, fairly self-explanatory, in that I am totally on Ben's side for a plethora of reasons, and I could go into those maybe a little later, but I'll just say, I'll give the event a little more context, let's just say. So, if you're not aware, the PCP and everything around it, RadCon, that's kind of the big deal, right? Some of you, and a lot of you maybe found me, post RadCon and that kind of thing, and, know who I am, or, are maybe one of my friends. And RadCon itself, the event, is one that often kind of stirs controversy for, whatever XYZ reason. And Trixie, Digi at the time, was, a member of the PCP and was, a big deal about RadCon, and started the name. The name is based off of their name. It's Conrad, but reversed and all that. So I'll just say that everything that's happened is just crazy. It's just this upside down world craziness that I don't think any one of us could have imagined a mere year ago. Maybe even a few months ago, maybe even at the end of last year. I don't think people thought it was this bad. Sure, some of us were expecting it to sort of go this way. We sort of have been for a while now, but the caliber, the degree, I'm not sure anyone was expecting. So, the tagline here is that Trixie pretty much has left the PCP. And they're kind of burning the bridge of friendship with Ben. I mean, they both really are. But the deal here is that Ben is deciding to be honest and open with them, in that Ben is openly, saying his, grievances and, talking about his disdain for their new friends, quote unquote. Trixie's new group, the Void Gazers, etc., etc. And the deal with this too, and the reason it all relates to RadCon and, me, etc., is there was an idea. The Avengers, there was an idea. We're forming a team, etc., etc. But RadCon, there was this thing. It's called the Brony Lecture, okay? And it's something that's just within the past, month or so, has become this controversial thing that has, shown people who they really are, let's just say. And there's sides to this debate, and I'll just give it to you guys straight. Straight from me, I think there's a clear, right path to go. And this is from an outsider, keep in mind, too. I'm not even involved, with formerly Digi stuff. It's that not releasing this is just bad. It's just a bad outlook. It's just bad for PR, etc. And this is something that, keep in mind, does exist, but is just outright being chosen not to be released. And look, I can understand the arguments. Well, it's pre-transition. Maybe they don't want the internet to see it. Blah, blah, blah. And the thing is that it's just never going to see the light of day. It's never going to be released. And there's just been this disregard, right? There's this disregard for its existence. And that's what pisses me off, personally. I mean, hey, that would be like me filming this lecture, talking about it, hyping it up, like I have been for almost a year, and then just not releasing it. And then just, being salty at your friends and at your fan base when they ask where it is. And I'll get into, my stuff later. But I want you all to understand the build-up here, is that this has been building up for over a year since the last RadCon. It was in March of last year. And the deal is that should a lecture take a year? I mean, I'll be frank with you guys. If my lecture is not out by this December, I would give full permission for someone to shoot me in the back of the head. That's for damn sure. And the fact is that all Trixie/Digi has done over this entire time has just ruined their goodwill with fans. They can hum and haw about what they're doing and how it's made them more happy. But take a minute to think logically, to think rationally. Their Patreon, a hallmark, a cornerstone of their, output of content and their intake of funds, has only been on the decline for the past almost 2 years. And when a Patreon, tell me this, when a Patreon goes from making $4,800 per month to making $1,100 per month, can you genuinely tell me, if I look you in the eyes, can you genuinely tell me that that is a good thing? That you feel better about yourself? That you feel happier? Don't get me wrong, trans rights and all, but this has been hell. This has been so ridiculous on so many levels, and it's almost unfathomable. Coming from even me, just some borderline outsider Natehead, it's honestly pathetic to look at it all. And a lot of this drama and stuff that I'm talking about, although has had build-up, has reached this boiling point after a lot of this was kind of brought upon a Riley/Ralph retort fight. So ASE presents, aka Riley, who is their Trixie's producer, quote unquote. Two overweight people fighting each other like this, and all of this just being stirred from the absolute flaming pot of bullshit, is just very comedic to point and laugh at from afar, but it is sad. It is pathetic. It is pitiful, almost. And all of this from May, it's very funny, isn't it? And as much of a meme as it is to even think in my head that me or those around me caused this in any way, it really does make you think, right? What Simon did, what my good friend Simon did to May, and everything that's happened around that. Of course, it is not single-handedly our or their fault, of course. But it's just the little things, right? The little things in life that, make you laugh, make you think a little bit. And it's funny to see this sort of involvement in this kind of stuff. Overall, I would say. And me personally, too, just being an outsider, trying, I just have so many questions. It is comedic, it is sad, it is pathetic. I'm just a normal person looking at this. it's just very interesting. You know, I can't wait for a future potential Digibro, lecture, essentially. I think it would be quintessential to cover this sort of thing. The absolute plethora of drama every single day for the past, week or so, maybe even more, has just been insane. And I really hope someone is, documenting all these things. I mean, of course, people are in some veins, but, people having a holistic through line is something that I enjoy and I think would be relevant and good for just people to have in general. There's so many aspects to this. It's, like I've talked about, I've jumped around quite a little, of course, but yeah, if you guys want a just quick Cliff Note summary, Trixie/Digi has left the PCP more or less with Ben when Ben decided to be honest with her about, Trixie/Digi's new friends. Ben literally said, "You need therapy," which was fucking funny. And although he didn't say take your meds, that's kind of a funny thing that he's talked about before and kind of was implied. And that's just kind of an internal meme, which is also funny to see. And then, like I said, it was followed and kind of came to a boiling point after the fight. And then here's one thing that's important. Here's one important point. Although I agree with the sentiment, no one wins in this situation. The degree of loss is what's key. I can understand, okay, yeah, Ralph gets more views and that kind of thing, and May is a clout chaser and all this stuff, and Ralph, this is what he's built for and that kind of thing. I don't disagree with any of that. It's just I actually have a smidge, okay, a shred of respect, somewhat. Although they are still human trash, I do still have just the tiniest, literally, one, if you had to put it into a number, shred of respect for Trixie/Digi and Riley and the Void Gazers. Although it basically is meaningless, it's just funny. It's just funny to point and laugh at. No matter how you look at it, two fucking fat people duking it out is just funny. And like I said, remember, all of this, not the Riley-Ralph fight, but everything else, is something that's just been so ever discussed and highly controversial. It's just this brony lecture. People have been sort of expecting it, and there's just this idea that because it was never promised, ... etc., etc. I already talked about it. It's just that there's been this buildup over all this time to now it's reached this boiling point of them basically just borderline leaving the PCP. And I find that so fucking funny. So fucking funny that after all of this is what breaks it. It's just so comedic, really. It's funny. Very, very funny. So yeah, I guess that's it for that. I'll move on to another point here. What's happened in the last month? Any cool things? Any cool things with me specifically? I'll say this. One cool thing that happened to me this month. I have gained financial independence, basically. I now have financial responsibility. And basically what I mean by that is I now have my own separate bank account. So previously I had accounts that were linked with my parents so they could always see what I was doing and pester me about it and those kind of things and all that stuff. And because of that, that certainly allowed them more control, whether you want to delineate that as being good or bad, obviously is, up to the beholders, which I guess in this case would be me. And although fine, it was definitely time. I want to make some investments. I want to do crypto stuff. And that was just a necessary and good step in my life, just for like personal responsibility and that kind of thing. And overall, that's something that I'm, very happy with, at least in my opinion. And although a good thing overall that I have separated my banking and that kind of thing, there was what's the opposite of a silver lining? I don't really know. I guess the deal is that the stimulus. I don't remember if I talked about this or not. I don't think I did, but I did not personally receive a stimulus, which blows. So obviously I'm 20 and I am technically a dependent. But the deal is that adult dependents were still supposed to get stimulus, right? And that is true. However, here was the problem, was that the stimulus money went to whoever filed you as, being a dependent. And of course, the stimulus money went to my parents. And, well, okay, why is that a bad thing? They could just give you the money, right? Well, they just decided not to. I know it sucks. It is what it is. I tried my best. They were kind of really fashy about it, if that makes any sense. They were really, controlling and just didn't want to give me the money for whatever reason. Despite my fam, being in a good spot, overall, for a plethora of reasons. We're not poor by any means. They still felt this desire that I didn't, quote unquote, deserve this money. Which I find ridiculous, obviously, for so many reasons. And, I just don't understand them, I guess. And that's something that I'll just keep in mind going forward, And I feel like that no matter what argument they throw, that it's just kind of all bullshit. And I feel like they cannot defeat this simple argument, which is, because of my existence, you get $1,400 more. How don't I deserve this money, is what I would ask. And obviously, maybe you could provide some reasons, etc., etc. But the deal is that my existence makes this money exist. So, and I am an adult. So why don't I get this money? And it's something that baffles me to this day, and it sucks. Although a good thing, gaining financial responsibility, I did not receive a stimulus, which does suck. I really was planning on doing things with that, investing, maybe build a new computer, maybe next year, end of this year, something like that. Really does suck. And although I can bitch and whine and moan all I want, there's nothing really I can do about it. The only thing I can really do is, finish up school, do my best, and try and just go get a job and make as much money as I can, and we'll see from there. There's a lot to be done, but I'll just say this. So this episode is for the end of March. Next episode will be the end of April. The one after that, the end of May. But the one after that, right? So 3 decompressions from now is what I alluded to last episode. It will probably be the happiest episode of the DecompresSean Cast, because I will be done with school in 3 more months. That will be awesome, lads. And of course, that will entail so many things. I can probably start making content. Of course, I will be on the hunt for a job personally, because, that's just how it is. Like I said, need to make money. Since I didn't get a stimmy, that's going to be extra important to, go find something that I really want to do. And yeah, I'm almost done with school. That's so hype. I can taste it. A bit closer to freedom. That scenery, boys. That scenery. God. Speaking of that scenery, that fucking transitioned perfectly into my next topic. Attack on Titan. Let's fucking go. Attack on Titan. Attack on Kino, some might say. The final chapter is incoming. About a week and a half until the final chapter. And although obviously it's not out yet, so I can't really give thoughts, I would like to give some pre-thoughts, a little preamble. So, in my opinion, I would like to present this to you guys. I do enjoy Attack on Titan, and I was part of the hype train, back in like middle school or whatever the fuck it was, all the way back then. I will just let you guys know that Attack on Titan is something that I do enjoy. Okay, I just want to say that first. And it's something that I have been following for a decent amount of time. And although I think it has broad appeal, and I think that that's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, I've said it before, I'm pretty sure, but I am still optimistic about the series. I don't really understand a lot of people's concerns and criticisms. Like, I can understand some things, but some criticism raised by others just seems really weird and strange. And I just think some people are just kind of too pessimistic. And I once again, I just ask people, like, what were they expecting, right? So, spoiler warning, if you're not caught up on Attack on Titan, go catch up. What are you doing? The last chapter is about to come out. If you're an anime only, tune out for a little while, I guess. Maybe I'll give a time code to skip to. But I'll just say this, okay? What were you expecting? Were you expecting Eren to win? Were you expecting him to kill everyone? It's been clear. It's been clear since, like, forever ago that, look, I understand, right? It's a series about Eren, how Eren's progressed, etc., etc., But I ask you this. Who is the hero of this story? Because let's be real. It's not, depending on your definitions, how you want to classify things, Eren is the protagonist. He's no, good guy. He's no morally pure, guy. And he's said it himself in the fact that, Armin is going to be the one to, like, save humanity. And although, who knows how things will end, it truly was expected. I don't really get this idea of people genuinely thought, Eren was going to win, he was going to kill everyone, and everything was just going to be okay. I understand that, but, like, it's just, what were you expecting? That's all. That's really all you can really summarize it as. And I feel like no matter what, there's no, I guess it's kind of going back on what I said previously, but, like, there's no perfect victory, I would say. There, something will be wrong. Something will be off-putting. But I think that's no reason to, like, shit on the series, It taught us lessons. There's various important themes in the show. There's, endearing characters that we all like, and, all these things. That doesn't take away from your experience up until then. And I personally highly doubt that the ending will just be outright shit. And, people may dislike it. And that's just a consistent thing. Like, some people just won't like everything. And, call me Chad Retard if you want, but, I still like it. I don't think that the series has dropped the ball since Chapter X. I don't believe in any of that stuff. To me, it's been, like, consistently good and interesting. And the fact that we're being, shown a lot of things and not being told things is upsetting to people. And I don't know, it's kind of funny. There's a lot to pick up about the series. You can analyze and hum and haw all you want that, there isn't a quote unquote correct or good ending, or everything gets wrapped up in a, tight, neat bow. I think that that's totally okay. And if you really want something to ground this with, I think that that's totally acceptable to me. It will be like a Gurren Lagann type of thing where it's like, believe in humanity. Believe in humanity to work things out. And, don't do this bullshit, full Rossiu type, limit the population, nor do this full freedom, shit. Like, even though, okay, it's, you might want to compare and contrast it differently to Attack on Titan for various ways and reasons, it's just becoming increasingly clear to me that, everything links back to, TTGL. And as much as I repeat it on this cast consistently, it is consistent. It is consistent how consistent it is. And, things should make you uncomfortable. Things will do that, and you just have to kind of go with the flow. Sometimes, analysis is a great thing, and, examining things on a, with a more apt lens can and usually is a good thing. It's just sometimes people are tending to really overthink things. People are really, sometimes so set on their ideas and what they have in mind. And, just like an example I said, like, they really wanted, quote unquote, Eren to win. And while that argument is interesting, think about the opposite, let's just say. Do you think the Alliance has won? Do you genuinely think the Alliance has, quote unquote, won? Because I don't know about you guys, but one great character, okay, in Attack on Titan, Jean, or Jean, or whatever, however the fuck you want to say it. I don't know, names are weird. I thought Flock was Floch and shit, and I don't know. Jean, I'll just keep it simple. I thought Jean was a great character in Attack on Titan. He was kind of like a drama queen earlier on, but he was this guy who, took things a little more seriously and wasn't all kind of idealistic like Eren was. Jean dies, okay? He becomes a Titan and more or less dies. And that was enough of a loss for me. And you could hum and haw if other characters die, Mikasa or Armin or whoever, who knows? There's still one more chapter after all. And, other characters have come and gone, and I think Reiner is dead too, I believe, right? But it's just kind of like, it will be a dirty victory, at least I believe so. Unless, our expectations are, just totally subverted in this last chapter somehow, which I highly doubt. But, we'll see overall. And I don't know. I just think people are it's just like I said. I think people are too, pessimistic. I think people are a little too nitpicky on some things. And people's expectations were, kind of being subverted, and I can understand the backlash from that, but I think people just need to kind of chill, mellow out, and be a little more hopeful. I have hope, and I hope you guys do too, that AoT will end, in a good manner, let's just say, and that it will be somewhat satisfying no matter what. And I guess that's another thing I should talk about, is that the anime, I don't really understand why they want to take so long to finish it. I guess that's just kind of how it is, how the production process is and whatnot. I think that finishing it in winter of next year is kind of ridiculous. I don't really understand why they would want to do that. But I guess that's just kind of how it be. So I talked a while about AoT. I guess it is time to pivot into another topic. Let's just go something a little shorter, a little simpler. So if you guys are not aware, of course, it's been, or at least we're approaching about a year, in a few months, mind you, but we are approaching that time of a year since I did my daily video challenge type thing. And I guess I'll just inform you guys right now, kind of obvious, I guess, but my plan personally is not to do one of those challenges this year, because I think that would really derail things and put a little too much pressure and workload on me personally. I believe last year I did it in like July, so obviously I wasn't doing school at the time, so it was more doable. But by July of this year, I'll probably be either getting or in a job and, be busy. And I don't think that a daily video challenge like that would be doable, with maybe a slight asterisk being if I have the lecture out by then. Because if I have the lecture out by then I would probably have much, much more reason to do one. I'm gonna take a sip of water real quick, because I think I've been talking consistently for about 30 minutes or some shit. But yeah, just an overall sense, though, of, that thing is coming up, and why, I probably will not do one, unfortunately. That's kind of my thoughts on that. Depends when the lecture comes out, but even then, that might not be enough to motivate me to do that. Another quick thing I guess I will just update you guys on, or just talk about, rather, is that Kingdom Hearts, one thing I love, one thing I like a lot, it had its 19-year anniversary. And I guess if I had anything to say, it would be that Kingdom Hearts is, similarly to Attack on Titan, I am optimistic about it, and I think people are a little too pessimistic. And, yeah, it's funny. It's funny, isn't it? Ah, fuck, I forgot to talk about something, okay? The Trixie drama stuff. I'm really curious how this is going to affect content, because it must just suck to be Nate right now, is all I gotta say. I'm wondering how that's going to work. They said they're going to do batch recordings and stuff, because if you're not aware, Trixie/Digi is going to be moving into an RV and quote-unquote traveling the country. Yeah, I wonder how that's going to go. Yeah, I tried to make a post on that on 4chan, but it got swiftly deleted, unfortunately, or archived or whatever. But yeah, that is funny as fuck. Yeah, I guess if... yeah, okay, so that is this point, is how this affects Nate heads and just how funny everything is. in the fact that, remember everyone, how we got here. Nate originally lived in Ohio, right? He quits his job to go full-time YouTube, then moves to Virginia Beach to pursue a full-time YouTube career and make content with Digi. Now, after all this time, Digi is going to leave, just outright leave, and supposedly come back for content and batch record. Do you trust them to do that? Do you sincerely, after all this drama, after all this bullshit, do you, random viewer, trust Trixie/Digi to come back and record content? Oh fucking boy, the absolute state. It's very comedic, isn't it? Maybe Nate will have to make some videos now, won't he? That's kind of interesting. Man, all these people have been on a downward spiral. Literally everybody but like maybe Ben and Tom and Gib. Even Ben, after all this, has seen his Patreon increase. While almost everyone else has just seen their Patreons like fucking plummet off the earth. It's just very funny. It's just very funny. Very comedic. Point and laugh. Move on with your day. You know, like this. So I'll tell you guys the last section here. Actually, second to last, technically, but you guys should know some lecture updates. I know I should really say what's up. If you're not aware, I've kind of talked about it in the past few episodes, but just to re-emphasize, obviously I was kind of gunning for like a Q1 release is what I said a while ago, and I've talked about that recently, how I think that that's been unrealistic, and I'll just give you guys a lot more thoughts on that specifically, in that although progress is consistently being made, and I've probably made some of the biggest progress ever in like the last week and a half since I've had a short break from school, and now I'm going back into it as school has started once again. Although progress has been made, you know, this lecture was just a more daunting task than I really thought that it was. And it's for this reason, though, because I want it to be high in quality. I want the audio and everything to be edited and to sound good. And some of that stuff has just been trial and error. And, you know, just because I sort of, you know, didn't really know what I was doing, you know, with something this big, something that I really should have done. And the fact that I've done a lot of editing on this, and I really want that to pay off, and I'm not gonna rush this. I just want to make that clear, if it's not been already, for it taking a long time, you know? And that this lecture, it needs a lot of work, and I'll just give you guys the clear, you know, transparent update, in that, if you remembered, I said I believe at least I'm probably going to go over this lecture at least 3 times with all the editing and everything. I've mentioned that before. I'll just let you guys know right now. The transparent, clear update is that I'm probably 25% done with my second once-over. So what that means specifically, or if you've missed a few episodes or just don't remember, I did one once-over, just chopping out the video, okay, just editing out, cutting, whatever, all the irrelevant stuff, you know, and all that kind of thing. So that was the first once-over. The second once-over has been me inserting and syncing everyone's audio, which, if you're not aware, is something that it's what I meant before when I said the task was a little more daunting than I imagined. Because of all the chopping of the first once-over, every single cut in the video has to be resynced with 8 other people's audio. Just keep that in mind. And yes, it is more painstaking right now because 2 or 3 people leave partway through, and it will get easier. So maybe the 25% is not quite accurate, just because people leave later, like I said. It is just a very intense, kind of busy work thing of syncing this audio. And I guess I'll just inform you guys, like, the reason I want to do it this way and the reason that it will be good and there will be payoff is because of this. If I just release the lecture just as the video and the OBS recording that recorded everything, the audio would be near unlistenable with how much background noise there is just from various people. C-Told specifically, not to call them out or shit on them too hard, but it is just a generic, fact or truth that if I release the lecture like that, yes, it would not take as long, but the quality would be significantly lower and worse. Just because, all background audio that was picked up by the recording would just be in the video, and it wouldn't give me the, free form ability to edit out anyone's individual stuff, which is why here we are at that second once over, inserting and syncing everyone's audio, like I said. So what's my plan, though, right? What's my plan? So the second once over being, kind of as done as it is, I really should, be trying my best to kind of complete that second once over during this quarter of school. I think would be a good goal, or just as fast as I can, generically. Like, I know this is one of those things, it's kind of difficult to kind of gauge these things with numbers and specifics, etc. Even like I said, 25% maybe not being all that accurate. It's just kind of how far in the timeline, I am compared to like the end is really what it is. But yeah, I mean, I've said this previously, but just to reiterate, I'm probably going to be doing at least one more once over after this one for like actual editing, trimming out people's audio, inserting the imagery, inserting some skit stuff. I've gone over that stuff before, but it's just to remind everyone, like, this is all, like, I'm putting a lot into this, and I just hope that once that video is done and released and ready, that everyone will enjoy it just as much as I did, making it and putting in the effort for it to be good. So I hope that, everyone will appreciate that, and there's going to be a lot of work, and I guess I apologize for, kind of saying that it'll release sooner than it actually has. Obviously, nothing, I've got nothing really held against me, really, other than, like, it's kind of, actually better, that I've done it this way, and you'll see exactly what I mean. There's a lot of effort, being put into it. So thanks for keeping up with me on that stuff. Other than editing, of course, commissions are still going extremely well. Commissions, I have 5 completed and ready images, and even more in the works. At least 2, but I have even a plethora, tons more in mind. And you guys will see from tons and tons of artists that I hope that you'll all know and it'll be awesome. It'll be a good time. And, those images and everything and all the work that I'm putting into this, I really hope that you guys will get where I'm coming from and that it will be worth it. Okay, it will be worth it. It will not be disappointing. It will be an awesome, fun ride of content, and it will be well edited and whatnot. And it just is something I want to share to the world, something that I've invested, time, money, effort, etc. into, that I want people to enjoy. I want everyone to get the point too. And especially when that video comes out, I would love to hear from my friends. I would love to talk with them again. Did you get it? Did you get the point of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX? It would be a good question to ask. And I probably go over it, a couple of times in the lecture. It's just like, it's not exactly the format to get across a singular point. I mean, I even say it myself in the video, is that this is more, it is a broad approach to a long series, 180 episode anime and whatnot, but through it all, could you discern or see the point? I would love to ask you, my friends, my viewers, etc., if once the video comes out, whenever it does, did you get it? That would be the big question that I have for a lot of people. And yeah, I'm really excited. Things are going well. The grind, it's still going. It hasn't stopped. I'm not holding back a lecture from you guys like some people. It's still coming. It's just taking its time. I guarantee it won't take a year. Obviously, that would be so ridiculous. It's like I said before. I believe personally that although this has been a long, grindy, arduous process, that once school is done, for me, in 3 months, this will be my only focus. Like, this, and like I said, getting a job, but this will take all my priority, everything will start being put into this. So I would say, personally, in a realistic, optimistic time frame, I'm gonna keep working on this lecture. Okay, it's still getting work done on it, but I would be optimistic for like a July release. I think that would be really cool because it would be the anniversary of my daily video challenge thing, and then I could also do some sort of like edit in some 1 year ago type stuff. It would be interesting. And the reason I say that too is I think some commissions stuff probably won't be done until June as is, and then I'll be done with school after that. So then it should come not too long after that. I really doubt that I'll hit some sort of breakthrough between now and then of like, oh, it's ready. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's just completely unrealistic for how I've decided to take this, how I've decided to live my life and invest in my future and complete school and that kind of thing. And although it is fun, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot along the way. This last year has just been, a lot of jokes, a lot of jabs, and that kind of thing. And a lot of this has been really just learning, just learning things, and it's now going to be put into action very, very soon. And I hope that, you'll follow along with me along the way. And I appreciate everyone for watching, but I think that's all I got for this episode. And I'll see you next time on the DecompresSean Cast. Bye.